Hello everyone and welcome to our webinar today. Our focus today is direct bookings and how to best use data and content strategies for more website bookings. For this webinar, we have teamed up with the Hotel Benchmark, which is a sister company of 80 Days. Just some quick organizational side notes. I wanted to let you know that we are recording the session and we'll send you the link after the webinar, so feel free to share the content. And at the end of the webinar, we have time for a 10-minute Q&A session, so please feel free to share all your questions with us in the chat functionality, which you should find on the right-hand side of your screen, or you can also use the Q&A section. Yeah, with that said, let's begin and go right ahead. My name is Kristen. I'm director at h2c, and we specialize in global distribution and content strategies for hotels and hotel chains. And from the Hotel Benchmark, we have Katrina joining us today. She is the head of commercial and will be sharing insights with us on data benchmarking for more direct bookings. A quick overview of the content that we have prepared for today. I will hand over to Katrina in a minute to start the webinar with the topic of website benchmarking. And then in the second part, I will be talking about the website content for more bookings. And in the end, as I mentioned before, we'll have the 10-minute Q&A session. So with that said, I'll now share the deck with Katrina, and you can start. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christine, and h2c for inviting me to take part in today's webinar. For attendees that aren't familiar with 80 Days, we are a creative and digital agency headquartered in Edinburgh. We have an office in London, another in Malaga, and one in Dubai. And we work with around 450 hotels across the world, supporting on digital and meta search, as well as branding, design, and website creation. Since 2017, we have also been providing digital benchmarking to partner hotels, which we later extended to non-client hotels, and this became the springboard to launch Hotel Benchmark earlier this year as an online platform. Bear with me a sec while I move through the presentation. So what are we going to have a look at this afternoon? First of all, we are going to take a brief look at how the hotel industry was impacted by COVID-19 and where we are now. And then we're going to have a look at why data is so crucial for making investment decisions in your marketing moving forward. And lastly, we will have a look at the Hotel Benchmark and how it can help hotels get a better return on investment for marketing spend moving forward. The hospitality industry was one of the first to be impacted by COVID-19, and as the effects of the pandemic spread across the globe, travel came to a virtual standstill. We have looked at data from over 350 hotels in Europe between the period January and May, and to follow are just a few slides that represent a handful of our findings. For those attendees that are interested in having a look at the report in full, it's very easy to go to the 80 Days website, have a look at the Insights section, and you can download a copy of the full report entitled Cutting Through the Noise there. So just a few of our findings. At the start of January, coronavirus was a news story happening thousands of miles away, but very quickly a picture of hotel revenues bottoming out literally overnight began to unfold in Asia. Across Europe and the UK, the hotel industry was enjoying a strong start to 2020. At the end of February, the pandemic took hold of the hotel industry in Europe, and within a matter of weeks, a very similar pattern to that of Asia began to emerge. Just a few weeks later, the same was happening for UK hotels. While some degree of caution is recommended, when looking at the data we have taken from UK and European 4- and 5-star hotels, clear trends are starting to emerge. While performance remained relatively flat for the remainder of March, transactions started to recover as Europe passed the peak of the virus. One of the key changes in activity to note is the increase in average hotel order value. Our data is taken from the period between the 1st of April and the 12th of May 2020 year on year. The average increase across Europe is showing 56%. But more noticeable is the year-on-year difference by location, with rural hotels reporting increases of 48% in the 4-star category and increases of 137% in the 5-star category. Whereas for urban hotels, there is an increase of 41% for 4-star and plus 37% for 5-star. Time from booking to check-in has also increased. Prior to the lockdown in Europe, this was recorded at 45 days. Mid-April, this increased to 120 days, and in recent weeks, it's back down to 95 days. Age also makes a difference. One of the strongest performing age groups during the period 1st of April to 12th of May were the 25 to 34-year-olds, with increases in website visits and transactions. In percentage terms, the over 65 age group has seen a notable increase, and this is worth noting, especially with the restrictions that have been placed on the older age group, specifically the over 65s. There's been a noticeable decrease in transactions from the 45 to 54 age group, from 19% to transactions recorded at 13%. So how can data help? COVID-19 has presented hotels with a great deal of uncertainty. It is even more important for hotels to pay attention to how the pandemic is altering the landscape. Staying closely connected to data about your customers' needs is essential. Data is the most powerful filter through which to make marketing decisions, so focusing on consumer behavior, spending trends, and channel performance is even more essential. Tools like the Hotel Benchmark make it possible to observe industry trends that can help you shape your recovery strategy. So what is Hotel Benchmark? If you're familiar with an STR report that hotels use to benchmark business performance, covering metrics like average rate, occupancy, RevPAR, Hotel Benchmark is the digital marketing equivalent. It allows hotels to compare their website and digital marketing performance against the industry and their competitors. And over the last year, we have built up a community of around 550 hotels across 50 countries, all subscribing and sharing their data to gain valuable insight. It's very easy for hotels to sign up. We have a new online platform which was launched earlier this year at www.hotelbenchmarking.com. A hotel can go onto the website, share some information, very basic information about the hotel's location, star rating, facilities on site, share read-only access to their Google Analytics account, and the hotel is then assigned to a predefined industry set. At the beginning of every month, the hotel then can go onto their own dashboard and create a report for the previous month. And it's very easy with the reporting system to identify areas of opportunity. Just show you very quickly, just some snapshots of the report. It works on a traffic light system with green traffic lights highlighting areas of success, and red traffic lights highlighting areas for growth or for opportunity. The report looks at three main areas of a hotel's digital performance. So it looks at website traffic, it looks at conversion rates, and it also looks at revenue, as well as how the hotel website is performing and other useful metrics like return on investment for AdWord campaigns. In terms of where the data is coming from for the hotel benchmark, just a couple of different metrics here. There's a very kind of even split between 5-star and 4-star hotels that are contributing to the index, with about 8% coming from the 3-star hotel sector. In terms of the regions, 63% of our hotels contributing to the benchmark are from within Europe, 25% from the Middle East region, and another 6% from Asia. And the hotel benchmark is also made up of different hotels. So 63% are coming from city or urban type of hotels, and around 36% from rural. So we have a pretty wide spread of hotels contributing their data to the index. It's not just independent hotels that are using the hotel benchmark. We also work with a number of groups and work with a number of partner organizations, all contributing to the hotel benchmarking data set. Basic report is free for hotels that sign up and share their Google Analytics information with the community, and hotels can also upgrade and enjoy a premium report, which gives them access to much more advanced metrics and also allows them to benchmark themselves against a competitive set. And for groups or chains that may be on the webinar today interested in an internal benchmarking facility for your group or chain, we also offer a bespoke benchmarking service, which is created so that hotels can benchmark themselves internally, or perhaps look at brands and how they're performing within the group. If anybody does have any questions at the end of Christine's presentation, happy to answer those. In the meantime, I'm going to hand you back over to Christine, who is going to look at some content with you. Bear with me a sec.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. Sorry, everyone. So let's start with the second part of the webinar and look at the website content for more bookings. The first thing I wanted to do is open up a poll for everyone. And the question is, what is your top strategic priority for driving more direct bookings to your website? Please go ahead and choose one option, and the answering options are sharing trustworthy information on the website, invest in digital marketing such as Google Hotel Ads, focusing on SEO, or price incentives for bookings via your own website. Once you've made a selection, please click on Submit so that I can then go ahead and share the results with all the participants. Okay, I'll just give you a couple of seconds and then we'll move ahead. Okay. Then I'm just sharing the results in the next seconds once it's released. We have 29%. Katrina, can you go ahead and unmute yourself? I think I'm picking up the bit of echo. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now you should be able to see the results as well. 29% of you are saying that sharing trustworthy information on the website is your top strategic priority. However, the most of you, 43% of you, said that you're using price incentives for bookings via your own website. And then we have a couple of you also picking out the other remaining options with digital marketing and focusing on SEO. Okay, well, that's great. Thank you very much for your insights. I think that shows 29% of you using the website content as your most important strategic priority. So let's dive into this in more detail now. The homepage is more important than ever. Also, from 80 days or hotel benchmark, we got to know that the homepage receives 25% more clicks and more views than the same time in 2019. So that's a definite increase, and that shows you that you need to be very open and with the information that you share on your website. So showing the customers whether your hotel is open or not, and also whether you have any new safety or hygiene measures, like you can see here on the example. If a hotel is not completely open or there are certain facilities that are still in renovation or still close to the current situation, then make sure to highlight that on the website as well. If you're a hotel chain, make sure that you're not only providing that information on the hotel chain website, but also make sure to add that information on the individual hotel pages as well, so that customers that are accessing your website through different means and through different pages can all get the same information. Another very important thing, of course, is the new hygiene measures that are now currently employed at your hotel. Make sure that you're communicating this very clearly to the customers. And one important thing here that we wanted to mention is use some pictures or icons to better transfer the message to your guests. Most often on hotel websites, we can see long text where you're describing your measures. However, that is sometimes very hard for the guests to read through and to quickly pick up on certain sections that they might want to know. So make sure to use bullet points, for example, and use very clearly differentiated sections so that the the guests can quickly gain that information. Also, one of the key parts, of course, of the hygiene measures is how it affects on check-in and check-out. This is sometimes the only area where the guests actually interact with the staff. So you need to set very clear expectations on how the check-in and check-out process actually works. So do you have contactless check-in that is available? What do the guests need to do? Or is there maybe an app available that the guests need to download before they actually arrive at your hotel? So make sure that it's very clearly described on your website. Also list alternatives for hotel guests. So very clearly outline whether there is certain areas of the hotels that are closed. For example, the restaurant might be still closed, or the spa might operate only on appointment based. So make sure to inform the guests if there is any alternatives that are now available instead of these services that were provided previously. So for example, here with the breakfast, buffet breakfast is typically now not available anymore. So provide the information of how this is done at your hotel during this time. Also make sure to communicate what is going on in the area. Does your city currently have any open restaurants, any open museums that might be available with some social distancing measures in place? Are they open or not? Here on the example, you can actually see an example from a hotel that offers all the different amenities and facilities that are available in the environment of the hotel. And then they actually have a drop-down filter where they can actually filter that despite Corona, there is still openings of certain restaurants and spas and so on that the customers of the hotel can visit. Are guests able to purchase vouchers? So with the uncertainties of travel still high, think about other ways you can stay connected to your guests and offer them flexibilities. And one way, of course, to do so would be via purchasing vouchers on the website. Or maybe there's other things that you can offer, like picnic baskets that the customers can take away from the hotel to enjoy with the social distancing measures in place. And make sure to not only, of course, promote this information on the website, but also to use your other marketing channels to promote this content. For example, your email marketing measures or your Google Ads. Last but not least, of course, we want to point out that the website can be used for communication with the guests for on-property experiences as well. So this increases website visitors and therefore your SEO rankings. So add links to your website for your via your pre-stay emails, where you can all list the measures that you now have in place, or maybe adapt your Wi-Fi login page to highlight the new hygiene standards that you now offer as part of the hotel. What else should be considered? Of course, imagery is very important to transport a message to the guests. Focus on open spaces so that the guests can see that you have possibilities for social distancing and that you want to welcome them back to the hotels. Also, don't forget about sustainability and also other important features of your hotels that you have in comparison to your websites, to your competitors. And of course, regularly check other sales channels for updates. So let's quickly have a look at some of those other sales channels, because having a content strategy, it needs to be cross sales channels. So all the information should be the same on all the different channels that you operate. OTAs don't offer free text builds. So you need to become creative in order to show what you've done with some new hygiene standards, for example. Here's an example where just some icons are added to existing images on the hotel website, on the OTA website. Also, the OTAs are currently adding a lot of new criteria to their extranet. Here's an example from Agoda with some, for example, sterilizing equipment that they are now requesting the hotels to fill out in their extranet. This can be a great tool to also update your information on the website. So anytime you find anything on the OTAs, make sure to also update your website with this information. Don't forget about the GDSs. There's a couple of ways how you can also highlight the new hygiene measures on those in those pages on the GDSs. So for example, use your rate and room descriptions to highlight the hygiene measures. Also, you could use a free marketing message and of course also the HODs, where you can show more information and highlight all the new things that you offer at your hotel. And as essential, of course, as having good quality content on your website, it is using the right feedback tools in order to see where you might need to make adaptations to your content. And the best way to do that, of course, is to use your guest feedback. The first crucial step is, of course, setting the right expectations. And how to do that, we've just covered in the previous slide. Analyze your guest feedback related to cleanliness, to your safety, and make sure if there's information missing to adapt the content on your website to include that information. Align your survey questions that you might use after a customer has stayed at the hotel to include information and feedback on hygiene and safety measures. And also have a look on what your competitors are doing and whether really all your concerns of the customer segments that you're serving in your hotels are being addressed. So let me summarize our webinar today briefly. Katrina showed us how to best use benchmarking tools to identify the content updates that are required. Update your website regularly with the latest information. Check the OTAs and other channels for new criteria in order to add that information to your website. And stay connected with your guests so that you can adapt the content that you have on your website. Last but not least, there's just two more things that I quickly want to point out. h2c is currently conducting an IBE and meta search study, and your support would be highly appreciated. If you have some time, it would be great if you can fill out our online survey, or you can schedule an interview with us. Moreover, if you require support for your OTA and meta search content updates, h2c has developed a CONTtest, a central content management tool, and you can contact us at any time to find out more information. And that brings us to our Q&A section of the webinar. You can use the chat functionality to type in your questions, and we can go right ahead and answer them. So let's have a look if any one of you had a question. There's one for you, Katrina. Does the hotel benchmark report in different currencies or just to UK pounds? And make sure to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me again, Christine?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay, so to answer that question, yes, the hotel benchmarking does report in lots of different currencies depending on the country where the hotel is located. So currently reporting in UK pounds, euros for European hotels, dirhams for properties based in the UAE, and so forth. So it's a tool that can be used for hotels around the world, essentially.
Right.
There is also one here for you, Christine, if you wanted to answer that one. It says, from everything discussed during the webinar today, which would be the most important element to focus on initially?
Okay, great. I think the most important thing is to prepare a plan and figure out what you want to do first so you can make sure everything is updated in the right order. I think having a clear strategy, making sure that all the same information, the right information is displayed on all the channels is very crucial. But yeah, make sure that everyone knows that your hotel is open and that you communicate that on your homepage and on all the relevant channels. Okay, that's great. I think there's no more questions, so we can wrap up the session. We hope that the information that we shared today was interesting and was useful to you. We thank you very much for your attendance. We wish you all the best, and until next time. Thank you, Katrina.
Thank you. Thank you to h2c for inviting us.
Perfect. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.